Hey, this is Sandra, and you're on Willow 57. Today I wanted to hop on here and just go through a couple of the book of my journals. This one right here is one that will be available in my Etsy, and this one right here is I'm going to do a flip through of a vacation that my family and I took in the scrapbook that I made with that junk journal. So, without further ado, let's hop into this. First of all, I do want to say I hope everyone had a very blessed Thanksgiving. I had two very blessed Thanksgivings, so doubly blessed. All right, so here's the newest journal that I will have available in my Etsy. It's a very simple one. It is not a junk journal. It is a regular journal. This just comes off, obviously. It's just a tie around. This is my original art. It does have a kind of a glossy protectant over it. It's kind of a new old thing for me. I used to do where I would sew all my signatures with a sewing machine, and then I'd kind of put them together and put rubber cement as the binding glue. And so I kind of did that with this one. So it was kind of going back to some of my roots. And all right, so in the inside, you have a pocket here, my stamps, and then the rest is just very grungy coffee paper, coffee dyed paper, which would be great for a writer's journal. Did another pocket. That's it. It has, see, 3 signatures with 10 pages each. So it has somewhere in the vicinity of 120 pages in it. So front and back. So that's a lot of writing space. And I love all the grunge. It is just beautiful to me. So, yeah, some pages are obviously darker than others. Oh, and I did want to show you, during the grunge process, sometimes your pages get tore or, damaged. And so this one and this one both were ripped. So I added another piece over top to bind them together and stop the ripping. So there's that. And then some of the pages where the signatures end and begin, right here, I glued these pages together to help secure them together better. So there are a couple pages in here that are a little thicker, but no big deal. All right, so there's that. So anyway, like I said, that'll be available on my Etsy soon. All right, now to get into this grand thing. My daughter and her husband live in Alaska part-time. They live there for 6 months out of the year. And we had always wanted to get to go and visit them. So this year in September we did. And got to go to Skagway, Alaska. I know that's where one of the cruise ship docks. So if you've ever been on a cruise to Alaska, there is a good chance that you have been to Skagway. And a good chance that if you went to Skagway, you probably went into the restaurant where they work. They work at Brew Co. in Skagway, Alaska. Skagway Brewing Company is what the full name is. So anyway, while I was there, I knew I wanted to find a book to put all of our memories in. And so we went to their bookstore. I didn't really find anything in the bookstore as far as for a junk journal. I did buy some mushroom books while I was in there, but they didn't have anything. But there was a little art store, an artisan kind of store next door to the bookstore that this was in. And so I loved all the colors, and the art in this book is just so pretty. However, sad to say that it was rainy most of the time we were there, and so I did not actually get to see any aurora borealis. I did see a little bit of it and here in the lower 50 because of, the aurora had came down and slightly in Arkansas. Not really big, but it was pretty. So I got this keychain there and put it on the cover. So here we are, all of us together. It was me, my husband, my youngest daughter, and her daughter who went to see my oldest daughter and her husband. All right, so the lights that dance in the night. From the very beginning, this was us getting ready. My granddaughter was practicing with her bag on rollers. Did she actually pull it? No, she didn't, but she liked to pretend she did. This is the day we got started. We stopped about an hour away. We have a Mexican restaurant that I absolutely love there. It's called Asada Fries. And so while we were traveling on our way to our first hotel, we stopped and got some. And then we got to our room. And we had time to kill. We were going to spend the night before our flight the next day. So we went to a local mall, and this is in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Grapevine Mall, if you know that area at all. We love that mall. We go there anytime we go to Dallas. They have a carousel in there. My granddaughter loves that. They also have a Bass Pro. Actually, they have 2 Bass Pros in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and this one was by the mall in Grapevine. This is the Grapevine Bass Pro. So my husband, of course, being a hunter, loves that store. So we went in there and hung out for a while. And then the next morning, it was time to get on our shuttle to the airport. So we made it to the airport, got through security, plenty of time. Then we're waiting on our flight. Picture from the plane. Made it. We flew into Seattle. And then after Seattle, we flew to Juneau. And then early the next morning, we got up and got a shuttle to the ferry. Made some friends. Here, this is the executive director to a Bald Eagle Foundation. This is in Haines, and I met her on the ferry and befriended her. And we had planned on going into Haines and getting to go to the foundation, the Bald Eagle Foundation, but we didn't get to do that due to various reasons. But maybe next time. And here we are on the shuttle. It's like a 6-hour shuttle. Ferry. It's like a 6-hour ferry ride into Skagway from Juneau. And then we finally arrived. My son of love picked us up, and he was so excited. His family was missionaries in Alaska, and so they have deep roots in Skagway. And so he was so excited when we got there to show us. And so he took us to a little lookout to overlook the town. And then we went and met my daughter. She was still at work at Skagway Brewing Company, where they were so sweet because it was already time for them to shut the kitchen down, but they kept it open just a little longer just so we could get some food. So that was so sweet of them. And then we went on a hike to a waterfall, our first hike in Alaska. One of many. Got some pictures of this is Lower Reed Falls. I picked up all kinds of ephemera to go in my book, obviously. And then we went to Yakatania, I think, point here, where we saw a seal. A little tiny, you can barely tell that's a seal, and that's one of the cruise ships from Yakatania Point. I think I'm saying that right. Then the next morning, we had coffee at a local, here's another town map. We had coffee at one of the local coffee shops, and then we went to explore the town. We went in and got some fudge. It's a touristy town, so they have all kinds of fun shops and stuff. We had a light lunch at Naughtie's. Park for Aurora. It rained almost the whole time we were there, so we just didn't let it bum us out. We just went and played in the rain wherever we went. Here's Skagway Brewing Company, where my kids work. The crows and the ravens were amazing. This is one of the ports there, the boat docks. And then we went on another hike to Naku Bay. Here it is. Naku Bay is beautiful. If you've never been to Alaska, I suggest it. I used to. It's funny because when my husband and I first got married, I had been born and raised in Michigan, and I don't like cold. I don't like cold weather. And so he always wanted to go to Alaska. Well, I had just moved from Michigan just a few years before we met, and I had no desire to go back to cold. So I was like, no, I don't want to go to Alaska. But I've lived in Arkansas way longer than I ever lived in Michigan now, and cold in my age, as we all know, cold isn't as cold when you get my age. So I'm like, yes, let's go to Alaska. And so I loved it. So anyway, this is Dyea, another place that we took some hikes. I don't know if you can see those mountains in the background. Just beautiful. It's just beautiful. This is, our kids have housing with their job. And so my daughter, I'll show you, well, here's one. My daughter is an artist. And this right here is a painting that she did that they turned into stickers for an event that they were having while we were there called Oktoberfest. And so she did this artwork for them in exchange for us to have free room while we were there, free room and board. So this was part of their housing for their work, and some people had went on for the season was coming to an end. So some of them had left early, and so we got an empty room. Actually, two, because my daughter and her daughter also got a room. So she paid for our rooms through her artwork, which was amazing. We went to eat in my son-in-law's two brothers and one of his brother's wives also do seasonal work there with them. And so we all got together and had dinner that night. Again, all of this is from their local papers and just stuff, like this is Duff's. We went in there shopping. Here's a couple of the pictures of eagles that we saw. It was really awesome. I love eagles, and so it was just really cool getting to see them in their natural habitat. We do have them here in Arkansas, and occasionally we see them, and that's fun. Some feathers we'd picked up. Some different ephemera. Isn't this artwork just stunning? I love this book. So then the next day, our son-in-law arranged for us to get to do a little boat tour of the water there. It's called a Lens Canal. That's it, Lens Canal. It's the deepest gorge in North America. It's at over 2,000 feet deep. And so he took us out in his little boat. He just got this new boat, this friend of our son-in-law's, and wanted to take us out on it. So he took us out on his boat. We got this tiny little boat. We kind of all crammed in. It was just a lot of fun. It was cold and rainy, of course. So then after that, we went and got some breakfast, some coffee. And then we went again exploring, some more shopping through the town. My granddaughter's name is Aurora. So, of course, Aurora is everywhere there. This is some of the vegetation. Look how big that leaf is. It was just magical. There's this bridge that you cross when you go into Dai that I absolutely fell in love with. I love that bridge. We did a lot of mushroom hunts because I am an avid mushroom hunter. Oh, here's the bridge. I just think I always have loved mushrooms ever since I was a kid. I think they're fun to find. And Skagway had plenty, which I will show you later. All right, so then that evening we had the Oktoberfest that my daughter did the artwork for. They had games and German food. It was so good. My husband actually was the Oktoberfest 2025 Stein holding champion. And so that was fun. We were pretty proud of him. They had these giant pitchers and they had to hold them out straight without spilling any of the water, and he lasted the longest. So here was the menu for that night. Their German food. Here's a picture of the food that we got. It was so good. She had a frosty root beer. She made a new friend, our granddaughter, and we just hung out and had a good time. They had live music, and then afterwards, my son-in-law arranged for us to get to go bowling. They have a little 2-lane bowling alley, and so that was a lot of fun. It's the first time my granddaughter got to bowl, and she loved it. All right, then the next pages are full of nothing but mushrooms, because all the hikes that we took, I took pictures of all the mushrooms we found. And so I also got this flyer while we were there that explains the different names and all of that of the mushrooms. It's just a lot of fun. I wanted you to see these. I hope you can tell. I hope you can see this picture right here. These mushrooms were not, little mushrooms. This is the size of my face. Huge mushrooms. I mean, some of them were that big. And they were just amazing and everywhere. So I had a blast hunting the mushrooms. And then while I was putting these in here, it's kind of a cool story. Testimony, actually. Before I went, I really felt like the Lord had told me that he was going to show himself to me in a deeper way while we were in Alaska. And so the whole time we were there, I was kind of just looking, listening, trying to observe what maybe the Lord was trying to show me. And the mushrooms were the only thing that really, really, I was just so giddy over all these mushrooms because they were something I've loved forever. And so I just kept telling everybody, I'd giggle like a little schoolgirl and be like, God put the mushrooms here for me. These are for me. I know they're for me. And I really didn't, thank God put the mushrooms there for me, but I definitely did enjoy them. Well, anyway, when I got back and I'm putting all these pictures in this book, I'm like, oh my goodness, there are so many pictures of mushrooms. I wonder how many I have. So I counted them. Well, I counted them 3 different times because the first time I was like, nah, that can't be right. I counted them and there's 74. Now, the cool thing about that is I was born in 1974. And so I thought, well, that's just confirmation God put the mushrooms there for me. So then as I was putting them in there, I had done this page of just me with the mushrooms. I thought I would really like to find a really cool mushroom poem to put there. Well, then I found this poem from Sharon Penn on Pinterest. It says, mushrooms grow in the dark, quiet places, hidden yet full of life. They remind us that we don't need light or attention to grow. Sometimes our strongest and most beautiful change happens when no one else sees. Even in silence, even in stillness, you are growing. Now, this poem just really hit home to where I am in this season of my life. I had been in full-time ministry for over 20 years. And when I retired from that, when I left that job, it's just kind of a weird place to be, from being up front all the time, being the leader of things forever, to just kind of being hidden. And it's just, a transition period that the last, 5 or 6 years has been, of learning to be okay in the hidden. That, it doesn't mean you don't love God, that you're not serving him because you're not in full-time ministry anymore. And so it's just a really meaningful poem. And that's what God was showing me through the mushroom. So anyway, the next morning, my husband and I went again to a local coffee shop for breakfast and coffee. And then our daughter took us into Canada, to the Yukon. And it was probably one of the most breathtaking rides I've ever been on. We even had a rainbow, which was really cool. And like I said, it had been raining the whole time. But on this day, as we crossed over into Canada, the clouds parted and the sunshine came out. And we loved it. We stopped at Caribou Crossing, no, Car Cross. We got some coffee. They had a beach there. And it was just, we didn't want to leave. With the mountains. And okay, it was amazing. Okay, so then now this place, all of the yellows, that is my favorite color. I could have taken a billion pictures probably. And it's funny too, because, well, I'll tell you that in a minute. This is just some of the pictures from the road. I mean, you were constantly, this entire ride was surrounded by one beautiful thing after the other. Could I pick a favorite? I don't think I could. We did see a porcupine, and we saw some mountain goats, so that was pretty cool. And I love these 2 pages. I could not cover them up. I had to leave them the way they are. All right, so this was definitely my favorite. I could pick a favorite because this was definitely my favorite. My daughter, several years back, whenever she went to Alaska, came back with pictures, and she was showing me the pictures of Emerald Lake, and it was in the fall, and all of the yellow that surrounded this deep blue lake. It was just, in fact, I put the picture on my wall. That's how beautiful this is. I'd never been, but I was in love with it. And so I wanted to go there. And so God made it happen. I got to go to Emerald Lake in the fall, and the yellows and the blues. I mean, these are not doctored. These are the way they actually look. Amazing. So then we went into Canada, Whitehorse, where we had lunch. We went and ate at the dirty northern, well, the B word. I won't say it to offend anybody, but there they have, if you're from Canada or if you know anything about Canada, one of their dishes is poutine. I don't know how you say it. But anyway, they usually do it with French fries, and they put gravy and cheese on it. It's so good. But this one had tater tot. And so we ate that. It was so good. I love these old hippie buses. And then we came back all the way back through. And later that evening, we went to, my son-in-law is a bartender at Bruco. So we went in there and had a drink, and we ordered a halibut salad. So good. Their halibut is so good. All right, so this is some receipts from that. Next morning, we went to a coffee shop, had coffee and breakfast again. It was rainy, wet this day, super cold and windy, and we decided to brave the elements, and we went back out to Dai. And the wind was insane. The tide was up, so we literally had to walk through to get to the beach. We had to go through water. It was so fun, though. It was freezing cold. We didn't stay long, but we had a blast. No rain or wind stopped us. And then that evening, we got together with our son-in-law's brother and his wife and had pizza and hung out. Then the next morning, Steve and I went for breakfast again, and then we went touring around. This right here was a snowplow, part of the train snowplow that they've used, which is really cool. This was a Raven, which was cool. When you got, at this point, we were all so tired. And so we went to the local grocery store, which was outrageously expensive, by the way. If you live in the lower, you know, and have ever been to Alaska. Gosh. So, but my granddaughter, she doesn't drink coffee, obviously, and she needed a warm drink, so we got her some hot chocolate, unicorn hot chocolate. And so this is her. She looks so sleepy. And we played games and just hung out in there. They have a community kitchen, so we hung out in there and played games and stuff and let everybody rest up a little bit. And then we went on a short hike to Smuggler's Cove. And this is us at Smuggler's Cove, which is beautiful. We got some great pictures of all my babies. We made friends with the local wildlife there. I mean, these squirrels would literally eat out of your hands. So that was fun. After the hike, we were hungry. We went to got some curry. No, we went Thai food. That's what it was. We got Thai food. And then Steve was done for the day. He was ready to rest. So he went back to the room, and the girls and I went back out to Naku Bay and Dai for a hike and a mushroom hunt. And this day it wasn't as rainy, so we actually took our time and just went for deep hikes, and it was so much fun. And then after that, we went back to Bruco for one last dinner for this trip. And then the last morning, we had our coffee, and then we went back out to Naku Bay with everybody. And that was our group picture. And then back on the ferry, said our goodbyes. And we got back on the ferry, and then the next morning, back on the airplane. And this is Seattle. This is some of our ephemera from it. And then we were on our final descent into DFW. There's a picture of it. And we had gotten a hotel room. We reserved a hotel room for that night in Dallas, but we were all so ready to be home that I just drove the whole way. Daughter gave me this card, which was really cool. Alaska card. This is their local paper. The cover of that card. And then I got some driftwood and some different just ephemera stuff in this little bag back here. All right, so that was it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope this book inspires you to know that I didn't do anything super fancy in this book. I mean, honestly, I didn't do tags or any of that kind of stuff. I just kind of, took ephemera, and basically it's a scrapbook. Just glued down pictures and stickers that I got while I was there. Just the whole time being mindful of things that I would want in my journal, and just put it in a bag while we were there. In an envelope thing, and kept up with all of it. Bought stickers everywhere I went, and when I got home, it took me a couple weeks to put all this together, but there it is. And now all my memories are in one place. My family can look through it and remember. Hopefully next time my son and his wife will get to go with us too, and so we'll all be there together, and it'll be a lot of fun. But anyway, in the meantime, I hope this finds you all blessed. I hope you had a very beautiful and restful Thanksgiving, and are going to have a beautiful and blessed Christmas season as well. Like I said, this journal will be in my Etsy soon, so if you're interested in that, come check it out. This would make a beautiful gift for somebody. If you know a journaler who would love, just a simple journal, handmade. It's not a store-bought journal. It's, a little bit more depth to a gift if you buy something handmade. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. God bless you. Have a great, blessed day.